You join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wait.
Our most gracious and our most wonderful Father in heaven, we come before you, Father, ever so thankful for all the many blessings you so bountifully bestow upon us. We thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for this food we received. We ask you to bless and nurture our bodies. We thank you, Father, for the Rotary Club and all the good it does around this community and around the world. Continue to be with us to make the right decisions, to make our home here better, and the world a better place to live, bringing clean water to those in need and also helping eradicate these dreaded diseases. Direct us, Father, protect us, and be with those that couldn't be with us today. Watch over those that are sick, and watch over those that are traveling. Keep them safe. In Jesus' dear name we pray. Amen.
All right, Fred, what do you got?
The Scottish poet Robert Burns wrote a poem years ago about not forgetting the good old days and acquaintances. When it was translated into English, we decided to make it an old year's kind of theme. Right now you're getting it. So today, to start the new year, we will do All Lang Syne. Everybody knows that, right? Okay, we don't have time to give out a book, so you kind of follow me. All right. There we go. Should all acquaintance be forgot and never more to mind? Should all acquaintance be forgot and days of All Lang Syne? For All Lang Syne, my dear, for All Lang Syne, we'll raise a cup of kindness here for All Lang Syne. You guys were tremendous. Thank you. I know, it's coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you. Well, I hope everybody did have a wonderful, happy, and safe New Year. And it's great to see so many people here for the first Rotary meeting of 2022. And we do have a couple guests up front here, so you want to introduce yourself real quick as our guest?
My name is Marcy Gardner. I was here a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Dwayne had invited us, and then this is Mandy Gary.
Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you. I think, are those our only guests today? Well, Hudson's here too, but he should be napping, but he's not. So, who's happy about something? Or happy bucks? It's 2022. It's a fresh year. How many people have already wrote the date wrong a couple times already and stuff? Because I have. Nobody's happy about anything. It's going to be a great year, apparently. All right. Well then. So, yeah, Miranda.
Yesterday, the first day back to school, but my oldest is a sophomore at North View, and they went to ISU for DECA, the Business and Hospitality Club, and they had done a written exam, and then they had scenarios presented to them yesterday. She did marketing. She placed third, and the two above her were upperclassmen, a senior who's also in the state officers for DECA, and another upperclassman, so I'm pretty proud of what she was able to do.
So congratulations. Who else is happy about something? There's got to be something. Megan, are you happy about anything?
Kind of. Nothing to talk about.
Hudson was stopped up for a while, so he's not anymore. Well, all right then. we're going to go right into a couple of announcements. Our guest speaker today, unfortunately, texted Charlie. He was not able to make it, one of the coaches over at Northfield. We kind of know how school goes. Sometimes they can sneak away, sometimes they can't. We're hoping they're going to be able to sneak away because both the boys and girls high school basketball teams are doing exceptionally well this year. And Dave, you got a game tonight that you're doing the play-by-play for.
I'm filling in for Corey at Edgewood, so.
Yeah. So, fun story about Dave. He asked me to help with a radio call a couple years ago, and then right after that, the pandemic started. Like, that was the last basketball game, like, in Indiana that I helped call on the radio. So, I'm partially responsible for the pandemic, I think, and then Dave's also never asked me to help him for anything on the radio again after that. So, yeah. Chad had a good point. If you asked me again, it might.
I could use help.
Yeah, you'll leave me in the car probably.
Northfield Edgewood girls. That'll be a good one. They're both even.
I thought, you know, it was great that Dave asked me to help him on the radio, but it hurt my feelings that he never mentioned it again after that, and it's been almost 2 years.
Well, you're welcome.
It was a fun time. We do have a couple events coming up, and one of them is just right around the corner. It got posted on our Facebook the other day. So, Chad, if you could talk about the bingo, what it involves, how we can purchase tickets, and answer any questions we might have about the upcoming 4-H bingo. Yeah, if you want to.
I just got my food too.
I'm sorry.
That's right, I'll make it short and sweet. So we did just get the bingo tickets. I got them at my office yesterday. Leslie brought them by. We'll have about 400 tickets that we're going to sell. I can tell you as of today, before I came here, we're about halfway sold out. So we've got, I think, 7 to 8 more reserved tables remaining. So it's been absolutely crazy how many people have already reached out to me wanting to buy tickets. The girls at the office are not as thrilled as everybody else may be because people are coming in and out all day, not paying their bill, paying for Rotary tickets for the bingo. So February 19th is when the bingo is scheduled. I believe we said doors will open at 3. It will start at 6, which should be an hour earlier than last year. Goal will be trying to just get everybody out of there a little quicker. I know we kind of got a little slow on the calling, and some people kind of complained about it a little, but it's a fundraiser for the 4-H. It's not for that person that's wanting to complain about it. So obviously we want to make sure we're doing it for the 4-H. We want to make sure it's a good event. Maria Schotmeyer donates all the goods for it. So it's a great way that we can raise a good amount of money for the 4-H. I believe that next Tuesday we actually will be giving the check to 4-H from the last one, which was just a little over $8,200. So Wednesday the 12th. So a little over $8,000 we raised for the 4-H. With that being said, it also got the Rotary Club $1,000 to host the event for them. So this one will also get another $1,000. So it's a pretty good deal for us and the 4-H. Kind of working, getting that partnership together and being able to do that. So bingo tickets now are $15 a piece, and then if you want to reserve a table, they are $20 a piece, or technically you have to reserve a table of 8, so it's $160 for a table. That reserves a table in the building. So it's not like you get a specific table. There's going to be 20 tables throughout the building that'll have a different color placemat on it. That you'll pick one of those 20 if you reserve that table. At the door, there'll be $20 a ticket. I can pretty much guarantee there's not going to be tickets to sell at the door. So I would be surprised if they're not sold out in 10 days. Other than that, it's going to be a good event. Hopefully we can get about 6 to 8 people to help. 4-H will have it all set up. We'll show up. We'll call bingo. I've ordered all the supplies for the bingo cards, the daubers. They're on their way. So we should have them in the next 10 days. Other than that, I don't really have anything else on it. Any questions on the bingo? Anybody want to help with the bingo? Want to call the bingo? Okay. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Chad. Next Wednesday, so also the 12th as well, before the regular club meeting, we're going to have a board meeting in here at 11 o'clock. So if you can make it and you want to see what we got going on to kick off the new year, you're more than welcome to. It does count as a make-up for attendance and whatnot. Nothing secretive is going to be talked about. All are welcome. We just need to have a quick little business meeting to kind of go over some finances and get things rolling for the upcoming next 6 months of our Rotary year. And pretty soon, I'm sure we're going to start to have probably a couple 4th of July meetings, and it'll be here before we know it. And so with that, like I said, our guest speaker today wasn't able to make it, so I figured, okay, we're halfway through this Rotary year. We can kind of talk about some of the goals that the board and I had put in place at the beginning of our Rotary year and see where we're at right now and what we need to do to kind of get the rest of the way. And as I was going over this last night and plugging in some numbers, I was really impressed with how we were doing, and then I was like, maybe I didn't set the goals high enough. And at first, when I started putting in these goals, I'm like, okay, these are going to be kind of out of our reach maybe on some of them, and it's really kind of looking like the opposite, so I need to maybe do some adjusting here. But as of right now, according to the Rotary International website on my phone that I had pulled up, we have, according to them, 34 Rotarians in our club. That doesn't include the honorary ones and whatnot, but according to the Rotary International website, it says 34 Rotarians, which is about even with where we were last year, all things considered. I'd love to see us bump up back into the 40 numbers and start to continue to build the club back up. And what I've noticed and what I can pull up on our Rotary website is not just our club, but clubs in general. They come in waves, right? Not every club is always going to have huge numbers all the time. People are going to move in and out of the community. People are going to come and go as they change jobs and whatnot. And so it seems like, though, in the last couple of years, we've kind of been steadily building back up. I know, several years ago we had quite a bit more members than what we do now, but we've been slowly working our way back up, which is awesome to see. And the excitement within the community about the Rotary Club, I think, is continuing to build. And part of that, I think, goes into another goal that we have, public image, and how the community perceives Rotary, what they know about Rotary, how they hear about Rotary. Social media, it can be a great thing, but it can also be annoying, as Dave said a couple weeks ago. One grumpy person on the internet can really turn a really good thing that the Rotary Club does into complaint central on a Facebook post. And so we have to, as a board, figure out how do you manage the community's perception of a volunteer organization when somebody wants to say a bunch of negative things about something. But it looks like from the traffic that we had over the 4th of July celebration and continuing into this year, we've had a lot of positive growth on our Facebook page, just interaction and trying to keep it updated. One of the goals that we have is our Facebook and social media representative to current things that are going on in the club. We try to update our Facebook page at least weekly about either who the guest speaker was or events and activities that we have going on in the club. We're not recycling old stories from like 5 or 6 years ago. We want people to see what we're doing, today, so they can get excited about what we've got going on. So obviously that goal is going to be met. But then the other big goal that I kind of thought was a little scary of how are we going to make sure that we achieve this is, are we in the media throughout the year? And I set a goal of we'll be in the media 12 times this year. Now I feel like that goal's a little unfair because Joey Bennett's in the club, and I went on Brazil Times' website last night. I just typed in Rotary in the search bar, and we've got at least 7 stories that popped up just in the last 6 months, just about Rotary. So, number one, thank you, Joey, for all the work you're doing with getting our stories out there. It's really, really cool and refreshing to get the newspaper, and there's not necessarily a story about Rotary Club, but to see a Rotarian on the front page or the inside cover. So like 3 weeks ago, Brandon, we had a story about Brandon on the front page of the Brazil Times from his presentation at the club meeting. Last week in the paper, Josh, you were in the paper for being a new member, right? So it's cool little things like that that as people see in the newspaper, online, circulating around, that they see our active presence within the community year-round and not just at the park during the 4th of July. And then something I mentioned a couple weeks ago, how many people that actually do come to the 4th of July celebration realize that the Rotary Club is the one putting it on and not the city or the Parks Department or whatnot. So I think we're doing a really good job. So far we've got 7 stories just in the Brazil Times alone about our Rotary Club, and my goal was 12 stories. So I'm hoping we'll be able to make the 12 by the end of the year. I'm pretty sure we will, but that's really exciting that we've gotten a big help from Joey being in the club. And even before Joey was in the club, I would email him stories and he'd get them in the paper for us. And he's always been a really good friend of Rotary, so it's even better now that he's in the club. And Dave also, this last couple of weeks, whenever we had the blood drive, he was kind enough to promote that on the radio as well. So anytime we can get the Rotary name out there of what we're doing in the community, it helps, and then we can track it in our goals. Service projects, I've wanted to do at least 6 service projects throughout the year, so that'd be 1 every other month. So far we're up to 5 of the 6, and when we have the bingo in a couple weeks, that'll be number 6. That doesn't mean we're done with service projects by any means, because we still have the trash pickup that we're going to do with the band again, possibly another blood drive this coming summer, who knows, and I'm sure a couple other things between now and then. Like to maybe go out to the park and help with a couple projects out there. So that was another goal that I was like, well, 6 service projects, that might be pushing it. Now that we're in January and we've already done 5, and I got the 6th one just a couple weeks away, it looks like we're definitely going to be able to meet that goal. The last goal that we have in place is the foundation giving, and this number was based on every Rotarian giving $100 throughout the Rotary year if we have 35 Rotarians. So that's $3,500. As of when I pulled it up on my phone a couple minutes ago, the Rotary International has recorded for us 1,175 foundation giving dollars. That doesn't include, like what we haven't sent in yet or today's money and whatnot. It does take a minute for them to get it entered in on their end and whatnot. If you have given online through a special campaign or whatnot, you just want to log on to your Rotary International account and make sure that it's been tracked and logged and that our club is somewhere in the credit for it. Because if you're a member of our club and give to the foundation, it counts towards that number. So make sure that you double check that on your end. But we're almost halfway to the 3,500, and I know as we get closer to it, I'll continue to update everybody on that. And as we get closer to the end of the Rotary year, we always ask the treasurer, well, how are we doing on our giving? And we want to make sure that we make that mark, because our club has been recognized before in the past for always being a strong supporter of the foundation, and the grant that we apply for through the district has a lot to do with our club's support in the foundation. So is there anything anybody wants to add to any of that I just spewed at you real quick? At all? Anything? Pros, cons, things we can do better in the next couple of months?
I just add with, like when we picked the trash up with the band, when we had both TV stations, so besides just the 7 stories in front, and we was on TV and stuff too, that we already had.
And that was great. Anything else?
We'll also have a fun run probably this summer on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to type up an email to send to the district governor of things that our club does throughout the year. And I'm pretty sure I forgot 3 or 4 things, and the list was really long, and the person I sent it to wasn't the district governor, it was the second in command or whatever, and she was like, I didn't realize your club did that much. And I'm like, I didn't either until you start writing it out. And then you feel bad if you forget something. So, anything else anybody wants to add? Yeah, one of my friends last night was said, "Well, you're really halfway through your term as Rotary president." I'm like, "Wow, that's quick." And so, speaking of that, we are starting to plan for officers for next year, and that's something that's going to be discussed next week at our board meeting. So, anything else for the good of the club? Yes.
How did the blood drive end up?
Yeah, so yeah, we had our blood drive on Monday. It was at the Y, so I was very thankful that when Megan Hudson and I showed up, they had everything set up, ready to go. The Y was really, really good to us and had the room all reserved. And we had, I think they said 20 to 23 people, something like that, walked in, signed up, sat down, did the screening, but we were only able to get 16 good donations for whatever reason. Because there's a pre-screening thing that you have to do on your phone, and then you have to do another pre-screening thing in person and a physical type thing where they poke you, they take your blood pressure, they ask you about 300 more questions, and if you answer one of those wrong, then they kick you out of the room. And so unfortunately we had some people wait for about 20 minutes, and then they got turned away. But we did have a really good turnout there, and it was when it started at 1 o'clock it was pretty busy, and then for about an hour and a half it was a little bit slower. But then at the very end we had several walk-ins at the end, which was really good. Dave put it out on the radio stations again. We did a Facebook thing, and but to have it at the YMCA I think was a really positive part of it, because people were dropping their kids off for some sort of practice, and then they would come in, they'd ask how long we would be there, they would get signed up, they'd go watch their kids at practice, and then I'd walk out to the gym and get them whenever their time was ready, and it worked out great. So just to have that kind of flexibility in the community was wonderful. So I think we probably had about 4 or 5 walk-ins alone, just because the location of being at the Y. You know, they'd walk up, I'd say, "Did you register online?" They're like, "No, I just found out. Let's get this done." And it was really cool to have that. Yeah, Dave.
I'd suggest for next year, we ought to have everybody like grab a buddy in advance, and then we can all drag one person there, let alone ourselves. That would make the vote much better.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And what I talked to them a little bit. They kind of expect that to happen, right? So they set a really unrealistic goal of saying, okay, we're going to have 50 appointments booked, and they know that probably 10 to 12 of those people can't give anyway. For some reason, they'll be eliminated during the screening process. So they were happy with the numbers that we saw on Monday for being the first blood drive of the year here in Clay County, and knowing that they just had one about 3 weeks ago too that did about the same. They're happy with that. And you know, Union Hospital announced yesterday that they have hardly any blood at all at the hospital. They said they only have about half a day's worth of blood for the patients that are there. So that's scary. You know, knowing what Megan and I know now of being in that situation of needing blood at one time. So for us personally, it meant the world that we were able to get 16 good donations on Monday, and it was really fun for us to sit there and talk to the folks as they came and went. And you know, Jim's wife Kathy was there, and we got to talk to her for a while, and it was just really cool to see the community be so supportive. And as Megan said, you know, those people came in and they gave up at least 35 minutes of their time and did something that is uncomfortable, makes me pass out. And so we're really thankful for them in doing that. And what was cool for me is the walk-ins. You know, the people that this wasn't on their radar that day, and they just, okay, let's go do this. And they did it, they got it done in and out in no time. But if it were me, I would have been passed out and slimy and green on the floor. So, Joey, you want to say something?
I had never done it before, but it's really not that bad. I mean, I know, like I'm not a big pass out person, but I mean, it was really, I mean, I've had so much blood taken from me in the past year that it's just kind of old hat, but they tell me I had really good veins, but, I mean, like, when it was over, I wasn't really tired or loopy or anything. I just kind of had my little cookie and sat and talked to Dave and then went home. So it was really not a big deal. Like, I wasn't sure, even if I, like, being diabetic, I wasn't sure if I could get it, but I had asked somebody. I went to one church a few weeks ago, and I asked them, and they said that I probably could have Googled it. I just didn't. But really, it's not that big of a thing, and I would encourage everybody to do it, because it's really scary how low.
Yeah, and we, like I said, I posted on Facebook last night, and I truly mean how much we appreciate seeing the support within the club and the community, and it's just really cool that we can have that impact. And the folks that gave blood on Monday, you don't know where your blood's going to go to save somebody's life, but I can promise you it will save somebody's life. So, anything else? Yeah, Chris.
I think one thing that may help us next time is, like, we've scheduled this one through the Red Cross, is to kind of check Versity's schedule too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I gave in November at the Ball Cup Memorial thing in Center Point, they got, I think, 36 units out of around 50 or so appointments. So they put on a sheet, I think it's supposed to be 60 days, so they said we shouldn't get it till at least January 17th.
Right.
So all those 36 people, and I knew
Couldn't
those
come
that
back.
were down there when I was down there, couldn't give Monday.
Right.
And a lot of them may have. So
Right.
check, not just the Red Cross, but check against Mercy and see if there's something within the 60 days.
Right.
scheduled.
That's a good point. That's a great point. I'll keep that in mind. Anything else? Well, that's really all I have then for today. Hopefully our speaker next week can make it. We know how coaches can be with the school system. Something can come up, but we'll play by ear, see what happens. Yeah, that's all I had. I covered everything. Yeah.
I know we're having trouble sometimes not having speakers, but in 2 weeks, I'm going to have Gina Lorman, and she is the health inspector for restaurants, et cetera, and she's going to be here to talk a little bit about what her role is here in the community, through the county, to go out and inspect restaurants and all those things, and also to offer us some tips and hints for our future not-for-profits. We have the 4th of July celebration, and there's some things she would like to see happen. So she's putting together a pretty nice presentation.
You say that. Let me get the schedule pulled up because
She'll be here on the 19th.
the 19th.
No, she won't be there.
I said, don't give a report about this.
Don't want to know.
She's not allowed to do that.
Yeah, so Mary Jo's got the 19th. And then on the 26th, Megan and I actually won't even be here. We'll be in Florida. But I'm listed on the schedule as having the speaker. But the reason for that is the chancellor at Ivy Tech called a while ago, back in September, and she wanted to know if she could get on the speaker schedule here in Brazil. So I said, sure, let's see what we can do. And that's the date that worked for her. So I won't be here on the 26th, but we will have the head of Ivy Tech. She'll be here to give an update. And she really wanted to talk about the new programs that Ivy Tech has to help Clay County residents attend classes and the resources that they have within the community. Ivy Tech's doing a lot to help surrounding communities, so it should be pretty exciting. What's her name?
Leanne Crooks.
Yeah, Leanne Crooks. So she'll be here on the 26th. I won't be. I hate that I scheduled her and then we're leaving the state, but it's kind of how our schedule kind of worked out there. So that's the next couple weeks, and then like I said, Charlie's got another coach next week, hopefully, fingers crossed. So with that being said, let's rise. We'll say the 4-way test, and we'll see you next week. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
Yeah, but I don't have